Coming up on Jersey Matters, Chris Christie is back in the state after a working vacation in New Hampshire. We'll talk about how his failed presidential bid affected his standing here. Teenagers building homes for the poor. They're teaming up with Habitat for Humanity. It's a local high school, and it's the only program of its kind in the country. Also, we'll introduce you to a local mother who went through a devastating tragedy but turned it into something positive. I'm Larry Menti. Those stories and more because Jersey Matters. I'm Larry Menti. Welcome to Jersey Matters. Chris Christie is back after an extended working vacation in New Hampshire. So how is he being welcomed? Well, let's talk about that with Bob Jordan, who is a reporter at the Asbury Park Press and APP.com. Thank you so much for being back.
Thanks, Larry.
Are you getting tired of talking about Chris Christie?
No, because you know what? I was set for the long run. Unfortunately, the run for the governor ended in early February.
Let's talk about that first. What happened?
He finished well below his projection.
In New Hampshire?
In New Hampshire. There were two contests he was in. He was in Iowa and he was in New Hampshire.
But he didn't really campaign in Iowa. I mean, a little bit, but he didn't really. Everything was New Hampshire for him.
He did. He was in Iowa for over 40 days, went on record as needing to beat the other two governors and fell short there. But New Hampshire, that was his number one focus. He spent over 260 days in last year outside of New Jersey for partial days or full days, mostly campaigning. Most of that was in New Hampshire. And he was very gung-ho that he could move up ahead of Governor Bush and some of the other candidates, and they finished a very disappointing 6th.
Now, for a while there, he was second in some of the polls. He went up and was getting into the double digits, and it looked like he had some momentum. Then it just fell apart.
There was a Christie surge, but then some of the other candidates kind of like started focusing in on him a little bit more. Christie really struggled in the early part of this campaign. When he did surge, the other candidates paid him a little attention. Marco Rubio's super PAC, Jeb Bush's, they kind of pointed out some things about Christie's record back in New Jersey. That didn't help the governor.
How much did it hurt him when the winter storm Jonas came here and he said, I'm not going down there? And then later he said, he left very fast, and later when he was asked why he wasn't down in North Wildwood, he said, what, am I going to go down there with a mop? What am I going to do? How much did that hurt him?
We were talking about that before. It might have hurt him more in New Hampshire than it did in New Jersey. It caused a ripple in New Jersey. New Jersey already has a pretty low approval rating of Chris Christie. In New Hampshire, where they thought he was the governor, rightly so, who responded well to Sandy, at least in the early weeks, they thought, wow, what are you doing here? There's flooding. We're hearing about flooding and damage in New Jersey, and you're back the morning after as the plows are starting to clear up to 30 inches of snow. You're here. What's going on?
Right, you're the Sandy superhero. Why aren't you going back for this storm? And he was saying, they don't need me, which really hurt his brand because he was the guy who single-handedly brought the state back, according to him, and now he's saying, the state doesn't need me. I can stay here. And if they don't need him now, they probably didn't need him then.
And true, and New Jersey went on to apply for disaster assistance because parts of South Jersey really hit by that storm, some big damage, and enough to qualify for assistance. And so I think he kind of minimized it. Well, to a big extent, he had minimized it. And New Hampshire people didn't like that. That wasn't polled. That particular thing wasn't polled. But I think if somebody went back to see where Chris Christie went wrong, that was a big thing.
We have been talking on this show a lot about the gas tax. And he didn't seem to take a position on the gas tax. He talked about the transportation fund, but he didn't seem to take a position on the gas tax, did he?
He kind of said, nothing to see here, folks. We're in good shape. The truth is there are some projects in the pipeline, but the new money coming in for projects, that goes away in the middle of the year because there's so much debt that the Transportation Trust Fund has taken on. So there's no money available except to pay the debt.
But everybody I've talked to that sat here, politicians from both sides of the aisle, people from the Chamber of Commerce and the business community, all say the gas tax is going to happen. Would he veto it?
Well, he is a Republican, and some Republicans have taken no tax increase pledges. I guess if bridges start falling down, he can't veto it. So I don't know how long this game can go on.
So your bet is that he'd have to sign something?
He'll have to. He could justify it, though. He's talked about repealing the estate tax. He's talked about tax fairness. I think a lot of conservatives would be more comfortable if he found a trade that he could do. We'll get rid of this tax and we'll raise a gas tax.
But Democrats who are feeling strong say no, revenue neutral. That can't happen. We just can't afford to take away taxes somewhere else to make the gas tax.
They're Steve Sweeney, the Senate president, says it's got to be one at a time. No linking of these deals.
I want to stay on Christie for 1 second, though. He came back, and I hate to characterize him this way because there's a lot I like about him, but he seemed to be pouting.
He seemed to be pouting. I think he knew it was over. I think he told America he was going to go home and look at the results, but we knew the numbers weren't lying the night of the New Hampshire primary. And he went home and he met with staffers and he announced on Facebook that he was suspending his campaign, which I guess Rick Santorum, I think he put out a YouTube or Greta or whatever.
Yeah, he went on TV. Huckabee went on TV. Yeah, now he didn't. Who's he going to endorse?
That's a great question. I guess he can endorse Marco Rubio. He's friendly with Trump. He's told us a lot of times he's friendly with Trump. I don't know if he can go that way. You know, he's really got to make a choice on what positions Chris Christie for the future in terms of maybe an administration job if a Republican wins the White House.
I think he's going to TV, like we talked about.
Well, Sarah Palin did it after she and John McCain. Huckabee did it. He would, you know, maybe while he's hot, maybe the time is right to step down as governor. Sarah Palin did that, went to work for Fox.
Wow, you think that's a possibility, that he won't even finish his term?
Well, you know what? It's because we have this election cycle. Sarah Palin is different. She went to Fox after she and John McCain were defeated. You know, it was quieter.
She didn't even serve of one term. I mean, that was half a term. This is being the second term, near the end of a second term.
Plus, when she tried to become a TV personality, politics was a little quieter. It was a year after the election. If Christie went to Fox now, he would be on every night. He'd be on with O'Reilly. He'd be on with Sean Hannity every night right through November.
You know, we're going to have to leave it there, but thank you so much, Bob. I appreciate it. I'll always love to talk Christie with you. Bob Jordan, a reporter at the Asbury Park Press and APP.com. When we come back, there is an important tax credit out there that people aren't grabbing, and we're talking about low-income families, and they could be getting lots of money back this time of year. We'll tell you what it is when Jersey Matters continues.